Atmanamekam Jagadbijamadyam
Atmanamekam Jagadbijamadyam
Niriham Nirakaram Omkaravedyam
Niriham Nirakaram Omkaravedyam
Yato Jayate Pavyate Yena Vishwam
Yato Jayate Paryate Yena Vishwam
Tamisham Bhaje Liyate Yatra Vishwam
Tamisham Bhaje Liyate Yatra Vishwam
Sahana Bhavatu
Sahana Bhavatu
Sahanam Bhunaktu
Sahana Bhunaktu
Saha Viryam Karvavahai
Sahaviryam Karvavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma
Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma
Vidvishavahai
Vidvishavahai
Om Shanta Shanta Shanti
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Dear devotees, so in the morning session, the last verse which we saw was that Trishu Dhamasu Yad Bhojyam Bhokta Yascha Prakirtitah Vedaitat Ubhayam Yastu Sadbhanjano Nanikriti. That in all the three states, one who clearly knows who is the experiencer and what is being experienced. If this clarity comes, clarity is not an intellectual clarity, it's a clarity which is of an experiential kind, in which there's a clear-cut discernment about, in all the three states, the person is always aware that I am the perceiving Atman. That these three states, they are all successively coming and going. I am that unchanging Atman. One who knows this clearly, then the fruit of this knowledge is that even when he is going through all the experiences of life, the person remains absolutely unaffected. So in all the three states, the perceiver is one. And in all the three states, it is not that Atman is perceiving three different things. What is being perceived is also one thing. Perceiver is also one. This is the clear-cut discernment. If you all have studied the 13th chapter, which we usually chant in the morning, this is the demarcation in the Vedanta. One is the knower, other is the known. The 13th chapter starts beautifully. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidiyate etad yo vetti tam prahu kshetragyam iti tadvitah. So whatever is known, Krishna says, it is all kshetra. And the knower is known as kshetragya. And this kshetragya is one. And kshetra is also one. Knower and known. This discrimination, this discernment, if it comes into our life, the outcome will be that even when we go through all the experiences, he or she will remain absolutely unaffected. So this is what we have seen. Now, Now comes an important issue, which is a issue which is there in all the religious books. Every religion discusses that. And we also have several ideas about it. The topic is of creation. We all have grown up with the idea that this is what we are seeing. It's a creation. Srishti. Srishti is a word, creation. And when you have a creation idea, Srishti, then there is a Srishti Karta. Then there is a creator. Once you have concluded that Srishti has taken place, then there is the creator also, Srishti Karta also. This is the usual idea with which we all have grown up. Now let us see. About this Srishti, there are several views. Very interesting views. And what is the actual position as far as the Srishti is concerned? Now we shall see what here, according to this Upanishad and according to Gaudapada Acharya, what is the actual position about Srishti, creation. So let's see. Verse number 6. Prabhava sarva bhavanam satamiti vinishchaya sarvam janayati pranaha cheton shun purusha pratak. What does it mean? From verse 6 to verse 9. These 4 verses, 6 to 9, they all deal with the subject of Srishti. We have presumed that Srishti has taken place, that creation has taken place. And once you have assumed that Srishti has taken place, this is the usual idea with which we all have grown up. Even as a small boy, I still remember, we all have asked this question to our parents, that who created this world? It is very natural, is it not? And the parents also have some standard answers. God created it. Who created the sun and the moon and the stars? Every baby asks this to the parents. It's very natural. We all have grown up like that. But what is the correct position as far as the Srishti is concerned? So from verses 6 to 9, Gaudapada Acharya is presenting 6 different views about Srishti. 6 different views. There are different views about Srishti. And you will see the how commonly prevalent views these are. These are all very commonly prevalent views about so-called the Srishti or creation. So here, all these ideas about Srishti, it starts from this one position, that Srishti has taken place. If Srishti has taken place, if creation has taken place, then who created it? Naturally, there is a creator then. If creation is there, then there is also a creator. So let's see the first position here. Gaudapada Acharya is saying that it is well established, Prabhava sarva bhavanam vinishchaya. It is well concluded that all these things, positive entities which have been created, all this looks like positive entities. No? Bhava, sarva bhavana, they are all bhava, they are not abhava. They are all positive entities. This creation looks like a really positive entity. A positive entity can come only from a positive source. From a non-entity, a positive entity cannot come. That is the principle. From a non-entity, a positive entity cannot come. So this so-called creation, which is a positive entity, it is concluded that it must have come out of a positive source. Sarva bhavanam prabhavaha satam. Satam means from a positive entity. All these positive entities must have come from another positive source. Iti vinishchaya. From vacuum, something positive cannot come. There has to be something positive from which a positive entity can be born. Fine. Then, in that case, now these are all views, okay? This is not the conclusion. These are all the different views about this thing called creation. And all these are based upon the presumption. We have assumed that creation has taken place. Okay? So finally, Gaudapadacharya gives us the last conclusion as to what is the actual position. That we will see later. So all these so-called positive entities, they are born out of a positive source. Then, how did this take place? Sarvam janayati prana. One view is that all this, in this creation, we find two things. One is that we find conscious beings. We find conscious beings. Other, we find inert things. Inert things like table, stone. These are all inert things. And the other is we find conscious living beings. So one view is that it is prana which is creating all the inert things in this creation. Prana. It's a view, okay? These are all the different views. There is a one view which says that it is prana which has created all these inert things in this creation. And all the conscious beings, conscious entities, they have been created by a conscious being. This is one view. All the so-called conscious living entities, they have been created by a conscious being, a conscious source. Whereas all the jada means the inert things have been created by prana. This is one position. Vibhutim prasavam tvanye
Vibhutim prasavam tvanye
Manyante srishti chintakaha
Manyante srishti chintakaha
Swapnamaya sarupeti
Swapnamaya sarupeti
Srishtiranyayir vikalpita.
Srishtiranyayir vikalpita.
Some people think that this srishti, this creation, what is it? It is the manifestation of God's power. Vibhuti. Vibhuti is God's power. There is one thought about this srishti is that this srishti is what this creation is. A manifestation of God's power. Vibhutim prasavam tu anye manyante srishti chintaka. Here this term srishti chintaka is very important. Actually, in this world, see, we are all always 99.99% of the people, they are all srishti chintakas. What do you mean by srishti chintaka? Srishti chintaka means, you see, even all the questions which are popping up, it is all owing to this problem of being srishti chintakas. We are always inclined towards the srishti. We are not paramartha chintakas. Shankaracharya in his bhashya uses two terms. Two things are possible. Either you become srishti chintakas or you become paramartha chintakas. Normally human beings, we are all inclined towards the srishti. We are always looking at everything from this standpoint. Here, srishti chintaka. And we have taken it for granted that srishti has come into existence. Somebody has created it. And once you assume this position that creation has taken place and this is a creation, somebody's creation, then naturally you will be thinking about who created it. What is the source of this creation? It is a natural, logical outcome of this position that someone has created this creation. Then who created it? So one view is that this creation is God's limitless power getting manifested. This is one position. Another group, they say that the Srishti is what? Srishti Anye Vikalpita Swapnamaya Rupeti. This Srishti is like Maya and Swapna, dream. Interesting. This creation is just like a dream or it's like a Maya. See, all these views are based upon the idea that Srishti has really taken place. Then we are then struggling to find out an explanation for it. These are the different explanations for what we are actually experiencing. These are all the different explanations attempted by the human mind to understand what we are experiencing here. So some say that this is God's limitless power manifested. Some say that it is just like dream and it's like Maya. Here in Shankaracharya's commentary about the second position, that this Srishti is just like dream and it's just like Maya. Here Maya means what Maya actually here in this context, it means it is just like a magic show of a magician. And Shankaracharya gives a beautiful illustration of a magic show. I will just read out that portion in the translation. It's very interesting. So those people who think that this Srishti is just like dream and illusion, for them, they assume that diverse forms of knowledge. So an instance of this magic show Shankaracharya talks about here. Very interesting it is. You see, he says, there is a magician, a juggler. This juggler throws, I will just, instead of reading it, let me just state a better, that is better, not read it from there. It's very interesting. Shankaracharya is talking about, there's a famous, the great Indian rope trick. In all the circuses and all, and even now it is shown. It is a great Indian rope trick. Just imagine, when Shankaracharya is referring to it, that means he also has seen it during his time. It was there. People used to do this rope trick. And what is this rope trick? The magician, what he will do, the audience is sitting and he is showing this rope trick. And the rope trick is that the magician is standing on the stage and he's creating a rope. And he throws the rope up into the sky. And the rope stands straight. It's all magic, okay. He just throws the rope up and the rope stands straight, just like a stick. And then the magician begins to climb that rope. He has left the floor and now he is climbing. Actually, the magician has not left the floor. He is standing there, but he has become invisible. And what is visible to the audience is that magician who is actually standing there itself, he has not left his position. He is seen to be climbing the rope. And he is climbing the rope and is carrying certain weapons in his hand. And is climbing and is going to the top of the rope. And there is an enemy there with whom this magician begins to fight using his weapons. And what the audience sees is that one by one, the limbs of the magician, they drop down from the top ceiling. His hands are falling here, his legs are falling there, his different limbs from his body, they are all scattered on the floor. A fight took place and his limbs were all cut off and it falls down in a different place. And then finally, all the limbs once again, they get united and this magician once again comes and stands in front of the audience. And the audience clap, seeing this. This is the great Indian rope trick. Swami Shankaracharya is referring to this magic show. So it's interesting, perhaps during his time he has seen it, otherwise he would not mention it like this. Now here, in this illustration, this is just like an illustration. Shankaracharya says, here the magician is what? The magician is the Atman. The magician is the Atman. And what the Atman has done? Atman has thrown the rope up in the sky. And what is this rope? This rope is the rope of the three states. Atman, which is standing down, it is throwing up the rope of three states. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Vishwa, Tejas and Pragya. And then the magician starts climbing the rope. It is as if Atman is climbing and going through the stages of Vishwa, Tejas and Pragya. And then, actually Atman has not gone anywhere. The magician is there on the floor, but he has become invisible to the audience. This is exactly what is happening in so-called our experience also. The Atman here is invisible, but the Atman is experiencing the stages of Vishwa, Tejas and Pragya. It is happening. And then finally, once again, the Atman comes down. When the realization comes, the magician is revealed. So this is just like an illustration, this great Indian rope trick. So this is one position actually. See, I will come to some conclusions, very interesting conclusions. Here, Gaudapadacharya is saying that once you have assumed that creation has taken place, then these are the usually prevalent explanations which we cook to understand what this creation is. Someone would say that it is God's superhuman power getting manifested. Some people would say that it is just like dream and it is just like a magic show. Then what? Ichchamatram Prabho Srishti.
Ichchamatram Prabho Srishti.
Iti Srishtau Vinishchitaha.
Iti Srishtau Vinishchitaha.
Kalat Prasutim Bhutanam.
Kalat Prasutim Bhutanam.
Manyante Kala Chintakaha.
Manyante Kala Chintakaha.
Now, those who affirm the existence of the created objects, Srishti Srishtau Vinishchitaha, those who are very sure that these things have been created, they say that this Srishti is what? Ichcha Matram Prabho Srishti. This Srishti is God's Ichcha. Now, this is a very commonly prevalent view. It's God's wish. It's God's will. Prabhu ki Ichcha. It's God's wish it is. This creation is nothing but God's wish. And other group of people, they say that Kala Prasutim Bhutana. All these things have been created by Kala. Kala means time. And they are Kala Chintaka. These are the different schools which were prevalent during Shankaracharya's time and Gaudapadacharya's time. There is one school of philosophy which say that time is the ultimate reality and time actually governs everything. So they are Kala Chintakas and they say that everything has been created by time. Kala Prasuti Bhutana. All the things have come into existence by the power of time. Kala Chintaka. Bhogartam Srishtirityanye.
Bhogartam Srishtirityanye.
Kridarthamiti Chapare.
Kridarthamiti Chapare.
Devasyesha Svabhavoyam.
Devasyesha Svabhavoyam.
Aptakamasya ka spriha.
Aptakamasya kamaspriha.
Some people say that Bhogartam Srishti iti anye. Some people say that the Srishti, God created this Srishti for God's enjoyment. Bhogartam. The Srishti has been created for God's enjoyment. And then Kridartam iti chapra. Other group says that this Srishti is just God's Krida. God's Krida means God's pastime. It is just God's pastime, Krida. God is playing. No, these views are very strongly prevalent. We say that God's Leela is going on. It is Srishti is there and Srishti is God's playing. Some say that it is God's wish. Somebody says that it is God's enjoyment. God is enjoying His creation. All these different views are prevalent. So what were the different views that we have touched upon? Just see. It's saying that this creation, in this creation, all the inert objects have been created by prana, and the conscious things have been created by a conscious being. Then, some believe that this Srishti is God's limitless power getting manifested. Some say that this Srishti is just like dream and just like a magic. Some say that this Srishti is nothing but God's wish. Some say that the Srishti has come out from time. Some say that the Srishti is meant for God's enjoyment. And some say that the Srishti is nothing but God's play. These are all the common prevalent views as far as Srishti is concerned. Now, what is the actual position? Beautiful statement comes. This is the conclusion of all the Upanishads also. Now, what is the actual position about Srishti? Upanishad's actual position is what? Srishti, there is nothing like Srishti. There is nothing like creation. No one has created anything here. That is the last line. Here, Gaudapadacharya is saying, Devasyesha Subhavoyam. This, what we are seeing, it is not a creation. There is Brahman, and it is Brahman's very nature to appear in this form. It is Brahman, nothing has been created. It is the very nature of Brahman to appear in this form. Devasya, here Deva refers to Brahman. It is Brahman's own swabhava, just like fire. Is fire creating heat? Is heat the creation of fire? It is the very swabhava of fire, is it not? Heat is the very swabhava, it's the very nature of the fire. They are not two different things. Similarly, actually the position about this creation is what? It is not that something has been created. It is the very nature of Brahman to appear in this form. Devasya esha swabhavoyam apta kamasya ka spriha. How can Brahman have any spriha? How can Brahman have any desire? So the different positions like it is God's wish, Ichha matram prabho srishti. Why would God wish? If God starts wishing, now see, these are all very radical viewpoints. We always talk about Prabhu ki ichha hai, Prabhu ki ichha se ho raha hai. It's a very commonly prevalent viewpoint. Even in our day-to-day transactional plane, this is the viewpoint with which we usually understand the things happening around us, that it was God's wish. You tell me, do you really think that God is sitting and wishing that something should happen to Ramphal? आज रामफल के साथ ये होगा, रामफल आज शाम को बीमार पड़ेगा. भगवान बैठे बैठे इच्छा करते हैं, कुछ काम नहीं भगवान पे. No, really. But this is the prevalent view. We think that everything is God's wish. Why would God wish at all? Now, all these positions are based upon the presumption that something is separately existing from the God. If you take the position that creation is separately existing from God, then you have to have a creator God who is ruling this so-called creation. Then you have these positions like it is God's wish, it is God's play, and all these positions we find. But actually speaking, see, in the Upanishads you will find the different presentations of Srishti. In most of the Upanishads you will find Srishti is presented. But why is Srishti presented in the Upanishads? In the Upanishads, Srishti is very elaborately presented. This is how Srishti took place. First this came out, then this came out, then this came out. All these things are presented. After presenting everything, it will conclude saying that no Srishti has taken place. Where is Srishti? It is Brahman. Now, why this is being done? Because we find ourselves as if we are in Srishti. From there, the Upanishad is very carefully taking us to the source, and then from there, it is making us understand that actually what you are calling Srishti is no Srishti at all. It is Brahman only. Nothing has taken place. Now, this is what is being given in the first two mantras. That what appears as idam sarvam as Srishti, which we reduce to Om, that is all what? Sarvam etat Brahman. Nothing has been created. What will be created? Whatever we are seeing, it's not a creation, it's Brahman. Nothing else, it's Brahman. Where is creation here? Once you take the position that something has been created, then you will have to have different explanations. Even the standpoint that it is just like a dream and Maya is also not the correct position. Even to say that it is Maya is not the ultimate position. Ultimate position, there is no Maya also. It is pure Brahman, nothing else. Very important point. But to stand that it is Maya, it is penultimate position. One step down the ultimate reality. As long as this ignorance has not gone, yes, it is true. It is Maya and Maya's play. But when ultimately knowledge dawns, then you can't even say it is Maya. It is just Brahman. For a realized soul, for a knower of Brahman, it is all nothing but Brahman. Then there is nothing like Maya, Swapna. Actually, even the three quarters, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti also, which we are referring to as creation of Maya, it is all what? It is all coin and coin alone. Where are the quarters? In whichever quarter you place your finger, you're pointing out at the coin. Similarly, here also, the so-called the three quarters, it is all nothing but Atman, nothing else. So for an illumined person, this idea of creation completely goes away. So this is the ultimate position as far as the creation is concerned. No creation has taken place. It is an ignorance that we presume that creation has taken place and we begin to search for the creator. And then when you search for the creator, then you have to cook different narratives like the creator created this creation for this purpose, for that purpose. This is all the different explanations with which we are usually used to. But actually, has creation taken place? That is the main question. It's not. So Upanishad's ultimate position is that whatever we are saying, it is Brahman. No creation has taken place. This is the standpoint from the supreme knowledge. Okay. When supreme knowledge comes, then this will be the position. That person will be saying nothing but Brahman and Brahman alone. Now our discussion started from where? Chatushpat Atma, is it not? Sarvam etat Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma, Ayam Atma Chatushpat. This Atman is having four quarters. And the description of the four quarters started. We saw the first quarter, we saw the second quarter, we saw the third quarter. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Vishwa, Tejas and Pragya. Now comes the description of the fourth quarter, Turiya. Now Upanishad is describing the Atman, the fourth quarter, Turiya. It is said in our tradition that this is the finest description that we find about Brahman. Brahman cannot be described. It cannot be positively described using words. No words can describe Brahman. Brahman can be only described by negation, by negating what it is not. That is the only description possible about the Supreme Reality. This is the position of all the Upanishads unanimously. No words, no teacher, however great, no Shankaracharya, no Gaudapadacharya, no one, nobody can describe what Brahman is. Yes, all the description of Brahman, it is all negative. They are all indicators of the existence of a reality, and that explanation or description is always negative by negating what it is not. When everything that it is not is negated, what is left is Brahman. So it is said that this is the best description that we find in our Upanishadic literature about what Brahman is. Actually speaking, what you are. It is your ultimate description. What is your true nature? What is my true nature? We are this. Atman, Turiya, the fourth quarter. We are neither Vishwa, we are neither Taijasa, we are neither the Pragya. We are the complete coin. Atman, Turiya, fourth one. So how is this complete coin described? This complete coin is described by the negation of the three quarters which we have imagined in the coin. When the three quarters which we imagined in the coin, when that is negated, what is left is the coin, Atman. When you negate the movie which you watch on the screen, when the movie is negated, automatically what is left is screen. So the description of the screen is nothing but the negation of the movie. Movie is what? Vishwa, Taijas and Pragya is the movie. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti is the movie. When this is negated, which is actually imaginary, these three quarters are nothing but imaginary. When these three quarters are negated, automatically what is revealed is the complete coin. The coin in which the three quarters were imagined. Now you see, that is the description here. Very beautiful description. It says, Nanta pragyam, na bahish pragyam, na ubhayata pragyam, na pragyana ghanam, na pragyam, na apragyam, adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam, ekatma pratyayasaram, prapanchopashamam, shantam, shivam, advaitam, chaturtham, manyante, satma, savikyaya. This is what is Atman. How is Atman described here? It's a majestic description, actually speaking, which needs to be meditated upon. This is the description of whom? This is your description, Ramful. Gautam, this is your description. This is your description. This is your description which is going on. We are all this, actually. Nothing short of this. Everything outside of this, we are imagining that we are this and that. This is our true nature. So, what is our true nature? Every word is important here. It's all negatively. We are described negatively. You are being described negatively. Because actually what you are, that cannot be described by words. That goes beyond the domain of words. Words cannot describe that. You see? So what it is? Na antapragyam. Na antapragyam means, if you remember, who is antapragyam? Taijasa. Taijasa is antapragyam, is it not? Atman in the dream state is Taijasa, and Taijasa is antapragyam, means whose awareness is internalized. So, first thing, the so-called, the dream state is negated. You are not the dream. You are not Taijasa. Na bahishpragyam. Now, who is bahishpragyam? Vishwa. Vishwa is Atman in the waking state, whose awareness is externalized. So, na bahishpragyam means you are not the waking state. The waking state is negated. So the dream state has been negated, the waking state has been negated. Na ubhayata pragyam. Ubhayata pragyam means that which is in the middle of the waking and the dream, an intermediary state. Now this we may not be aware, but it does exist. While transiting from the waking to the dream, there is something called an half-dreamy state. We go through it, we may not notice it, but it happens. So the Upanishad negates that also. Na ubhayata pragyam means you are not even that intermediary state between the waking and dream. So you are not the dream, you are not the waking, you are not the intermediary state between the waking and the dream. Then what? Na pragyana ghanam. Who is pragyana ghanam? Atman in the sleep state. Pragya. So you are not the sleep state. So the three states have been negated. You are neither waking, you are nor the dream, nor the sleep, and nor the intermediary states. Then na pragyam. Na pragyam means what? Pragyam means that which knows everything. Here pragyam means Ishvara. Ishvara. Even Ishvara. No. In Brahman there is no Ishvara also. Pragyam refers to Ishvara. Not even that. Acha, if Ishvara is also negated, then Ishvara is a conscious entity. But it belongs to the realm of Maya. Not even that. Then na apragyam. Na apragyam means it is not even something which is inert, jada. Apragyam here refers to something which is jada. This what? Atman Turiya, it is neither Ishvara nor jada. Inert. Then what? I'm sorry. There it is. Adrishtam. This Atman is adrishtam. It is unseen. Atman cannot be seen. Atman can never be seen through our sense organs. And Atman cannot be seen. One of the big principles of spiritual life is that Atman is always the seer. How can it be seen? There are two things, the seer and the seen. The seer can never become the seen. If it becomes the seen, it cannot be the seer. Seer is always the seer. It can never be the seen. What noise is coming? So, Shiva mask is coming.
Yeah, no.
You can just turn it off.
Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, yeah. So, Atman can never be seen. It is always the seer. Adrishtam. And then what? It is avyavaharyam. No vyavahara is possible with the Atman. It is not in the transactional plane. It is not connected to anything. It is totally unconnected with so-called all these things. Avyavaharim. No vyavahara is possible. All vyavahara comes to an end in the so-called the Atman. Avyavaharim. Then agrahyam. Agrahyam means it cannot be comprehended by the senses. Agrahyam. Alakshanam. Alakshanam means it cannot be inferred because there is no characteristic. For inference to work, there has to be some characteristic. Atman is beyond all particular characteristics. That's why it is uninferable. Alakshanam. Then it is achintyam. It cannot be thought about. Thinking of the Atman is not the Atman. You cannot conceptualize Atman. You have to transcend your thinking process. So it is achintyam. Then avyapadeshyam. Avyapadeshyam means it cannot be described in words. Words cannot capture the Atman. Avyapadeshyam. Then what? Ekatma pratyasaram. It's a beautiful term. Ek atma pratyasaram. What does it mean? It needs a little explanation. It cannot be just translated straight away. Its inner meaning is that it is just like if Sunil ji is inside this crowd, I have to spot Sunil inside a crowd. There is a crowd in which I have to spot one person. Similarly, here, Jagrat Sapna Sushupti is just like a crowd. In this crowd of Jagrat Sapna Sushupti, our task is to spot that Atman, which is the unchanging entity. The crowd of Jagrat Sapna Sushupti is continuously the changing dimension. And in the midst of this changing dimension, I have to spot that Atman, which is the unchanging entity and which is the very essence of the three changing states. It is the Saram. It is the very essence of the so-called the changing three states. So, Atman has to be spotted in and through this three states which are continuously changing. This is what is Ek Atma Pratyaya Saram. Atman can be spotted in and through the three states which are continuously changing. Then Prapanchopashamam. Atman is there where Prapancha comes to an end. Prapancha Upashamam. Upashamam means where this world of, so-called the phenomenon of world comes to an end. Then, where the world comes to an end, the so-called the idea of world. Where the idea of world comes to an end, what will happen? Then everything will be Shantam. Shantam. Everything is peaceful. Shivam. Everything is blissful. Advaita. Non-dual. There is no second entity apart from the Atman. Actually speaking, there is no entity apart from the Atman. It is Advaita. This Atman is referred to as Chaturtham. Chaturtham means Turiya. Turiya is Chaturtham. Now why is it called Chaturtha? Chaturtha means fourth. It is called fourth only in relation to the imaginary three states. These three states are not actually existing. They are imaginary three states. So in relation to the imaginary three states, Atman is referred to as the fourth. It is not actually fourth. It is the only thing which is existing. But in relation to what we are experiencing as 1, 2, 3, the waking, the dream and the sleep, which are imaginary contours, Atman is referred to as Turiya, fourth. Sa Atma. This is what is Atma. And Sa Vikeya. This is the Atman to be realized. Vikeya means this is what we have to realize in life. This is what we have to seek to experience. The seeking of this Turiya Atman in and through our three states is the really speaking the goal of human life. The very goal of human life is to recognize. You have to recognize this unchanging dimension in the midst of the so-called the changing states of waking, dream and sleep. That is Atman. This is Vikirya. This should be known. Like here, this commentary is very beautiful commentary here, but it's a very long one. I will just speak one or two things from this commentary here, Shankaracharya's commentary. Here, Shankaracharya gives one yardstick. What is the yardstick to understand that we have realized the Atman? How do we understand that we have realized the Atman or not? What is the measuring rod? Or what is the characteristic of a person who has realized the Atman? Huh?
Always blissful.
Always blissful. That is one thing, maybe.
His personality shows. His personality shows.
Personality.
Always satisfied.
Huh?
Always satisfied.
Always satisfied. These are all, of course, one thing. But more than that, something is there. That's very important. And I think these are all right. These are all correct positions. So what is that thing which actually... Huh? Huh? Pardon? Trikaldarshi.
Desireless.
Yeah. That's the point. Shankaracharya says, absolute absence of desire. What a beautiful thing it is. What will you desire? It is only in ignorance. As long as avidya is functioning, why desire lies in the idea that something separately exists from me. When something separated from me is actually existing, I am bound to have desire for it, some way or the other. You can't escape that position. That is why we are all gripped by the disease of desire, kamana, vasana, wanting and wanting and wanting and wanting. We just can't stop wanting. It is all based on the idea that something is existing separated from me. Real Atmagyan, when you understand that nothing is existing separated from me, desire is gone. That person, there is no scope for desire. That is the yardstick of Atmagyan. It is only in avidya. That's why in Vedanta, it is avidya, kama, karma. This is the sequence. When avidya is there, kamana will be there. And when kamana will be there, you will perform actions. All our actions are preceded by some kamana. And this kamana is existing owing to avidya. Avidya is absence of knowledge of one's own true nature. Once you understand your true nature, you cannot have any selfish desire. You cannot have any selfish desire. Absolutely no. You won't be able to have any selfish desire. This is because for this person, nothing is existing distinct from his own self. This is what is sarvatma bhava. He sees everything in his own self, and he is seeing himself in everybody. This vision of everything existing non-different from my own self, and I am also non-different from so-called everything. This is sarvatma bhava. The Gita is full of this. Yomam pashyati sarvatra. Sarvam cha mai pashyati. All these views. Samam pashyan he sarvatra. Samavastitam ishvara. Na hinastyatmana atmanam. Tato yati param gati. Samam pashyan he sarvatra. Everywhere he sees the one Brahman. There is no second entity existing from Brahman. When there is no second entity existing apart from Brahman, tell me, where is Srishti? Where is creation? So the very idea of creation is based on avidya. In ignorance, we think that somebody has created, and then we bring out different narratives for this creation. Even the idea that this is swapna is not the real position. When knowledge comes, then there is no more swapna. It is Brahman. When correct knowledge comes, the idea that this is dream-like, this is that-like, this is this-like, it's also not valid. So, idea that it is dream-like, it is also a position actually speaking in avidya. It is only in avidya that we are talking that this world is like a dream. Actually, we first take it for granted that there is a world, and then we are explaining it away, saying that it is a dream. But for a knower of Brahman, Where is the world? It is Brahman. So question of world being a dream also doesn't arise. Then it is not even Maya, it is not even Swapna, it is Brahman. For a knower of Brahman, if you just take the position of Sri Ramakrishna, Shankaracharya, or any of these knower of Brahman, for them it is all Brahman, nothing else. Yeah, to make us understand, they will say, to make we people, we who are ignorant, to make us understand, Upanishads also say, try to see it as a dream. Yes, that is the position. When we begin to practice that, it's a truth. In ignorance, yes, it is just like a dream only. But when knowledge comes, supreme knowledge will come, then you can't even say it is a dream. Whatever is Brahman. Where is the question of it being a dream? And where is the question of it even being a play of Maya? That is also a lower position. So when illumination comes, ultimately the vision of that person will be that it is nothing but Brahman. Nothing has come into existence. It is always Brahman. It is the very nature of Brahman to appear in this way. Shankaracharya beautifully says, it is the very swabhava, just like the heat of the fire is not heat's creation. The heat of the fire is not the fire's creation. It is the very nature of fire. Nature, what do you say? What do you do about it? It is not creating heat. It is the very nature of the fire to be hot. It is the very nature of Brahman to appear in this way. It is Brahman, nothing else. This is the ultimate position of the Upanishads, Advaita. Here in this Bhashya, Shankaracharya makes those beautiful comments here. You see, I'll just read this one line. This knowledge of Turiya, see, the fruit or the yardstick of understanding whether we have realized the Atman or not. So many people, when we do sadhana, it often happens. We begin to feel that as if we have realized it. But if you really want to cross-check whether you have realized the Atman or not, the yardstick is what? Absolute absence of selfish desires. If you're thinking, if I am thinking that I have realized the Atman, and yet if I have some selfish desires, you know for guaranteed it has not taken place. It cannot. This person cannot have any selfish desires. It is impossible. Shankaracharya says here, you see, the knowledge of Turiya destroys. The word is destroys. In Sanskrit it is so beautiful. The knowledge of the Turiya destroys the hankering after objects which are non-self. Means objects are anatma, is it not? When the anatma is no more existing, it is all Atman alone is existing, what will he desire? All the objects of desire in our ignorance is what? Something is existing separated from me. And we desire those objects. For this knower of Turiya Atman, there is nothing apart from the Atman existing. There is nothing apart from the self existing. There is no non-self. There is no anatma. Atman alone is existing. When one has come to this position, this destroys the hankering after objects. For once the self is realized, there is no possibility of once being deluded by ignorance. This is the second point. Once this is realized, again ignorance cannot come. It is gone for once and for all time. Maya has gone. This is what is mysterious. So what was this Maya? As long as it was there, she was playing the game. But a time comes when this Maya goes away. Mahatbhutam, Anirvachaniyam. This is what Shankaracharya says. As long as this avidya Maya was there, so long all this drama is going on. But when knowledge dawns and Maya goes away, then the whole picture is different. He is saying, for once the self, Turiya, is realized, there is no possibility of once being deluded by ignorance, desire, and the like misapprehensions, and then comes the sentence. There is no reason for Turiya not being known as the identical with self. He is saying there is no reason that you won't be knowing your own self. Shankaracharya says, There is no reason why you would not come to know about your own true self. He is making it look so simple, actually. See the positivity of it. It is not something surprising. If tomorrow, if somebody has got Atma Gyan, you should not be really surprised about it. The same sentence you will find in Eternal Companion by Raja Maharaj says, if tomorrow Brahma Gyan comes, what is surprising about it? It should come. Why would it not come? That is the statement. Shankaracharya, majestic. He is saying there is no reason why you would not know your own true self. Why would you not know it? You have not strived for it. It is so close. We are living in our imaginary world, thinking that I am this, I am that. You begin to investigate, the truth will come out. It has to come out. There is no reason why it should not happen. That's the kind of definiteness with which Upanishad presents this idea. There is no reason why you would not know yourself. Just see, so wonderful it is. See, everything is so positive, so strengthening, is it not? This is what actually makes the human life so meaningful and so beautiful, purposeful. If we are not involved in this venture, what is the meaning of this existence? Just eating, drinking, sleeping, eating, drinking, and sleeping in this plane, which is going on mechanically. What? It is totally a senseless life. It doesn't make any sense. What really makes this human life meaningful is this sincere seeking of the truth. Swaswarupa Anusandhanam, Shankaracharya says, this Swaswarupa Anusandhanam should always go. The seeking of this Atman in and through the three states of Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. It is very close. And try to live according to that vision. You will see what wonderful lives we can lead. Never being troubled by what is happening around you. Nothing can trouble this person. This person is what is referred to in Bhagavad Gita as Sthita Pragya, whose Pragya is Sthita, absolutely well established in the Atman. This is Sthita Pragya, one who has found his resting place. Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful story, one who has found his resting place. Beautiful thing. So I will stop here for the today. We have to go a long way, huh? And day after tomorrow is the last day. Huh? Huh?
Yes, day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow is the last day, huh? So we have to go a long way. I think we are very slow. So we will speed up the issues. Anyway. So if you have any questions, please limit your question to what you have discussed. Don't deviate. Okay, Sahib? Siraj, I'm always...
Two situations, right? Same. So, absence of desire is the way to determine if a person is self-realized or not. Now, this is a bit kind of a story. So if a baby is born and I make an arrangement to keep the baby outside of all knowledge of this world, this movie, this whatever we desire, that baby, when the baby grows up, will not know the concept of desire, because the baby is just getting whatever the baby needs: food, shelter, and clothing, these basic things. That person doesn't even know that he can ask for, or she can ask for, a separate kind of food or separate kind of dress. So would this person be considered as a self-realized person, because they are completely no knowledge about the world at all? This is
one by one. Siraj, what you have said is impossible. It is impossible. First of all, a baby is born. Now, unless the baby is an incarnation, that's a different thing, okay? A normal baby, usual baby, every baby is born with avidya. Avidya. It is born with avidya. And when avidya is there, whether you show the world to the baby or not, it will desire. When avidya is there, kama will be there. It is impossible. Whether you show to the baby this world, whether you show to the baby all the different objects or not, it will still desire, because past samskaras are there. This baby is not coming to the world for the first time. Actually, how can you remain without showing this world to the baby? Just tell me. It is impossible. Even if in this life, if you try to, then you have to shut her down in some room, actually. So that's not possible. And the baby has lived in several past lives. The baby has seen the world enough, actually. It is not a question of only in this birth. We have been seeing this. We have been going through this experience in several earlier lives. And the root, the seed of all those experiences is only one. That is avidya, ignorance. And when ignorance is there, avidya is there, you will desire. Avidya, kama. They go together. So whether you show this world to the baby or not, the baby will desire, because the seed of avidya is very much there in the baby. You can't escape that. So that. Second question?
No, that answered.
Okay. Yes, Kaustubh.
Maharaji, so all the realized souls, say Swamiji, they know all these things very well. But then when he said the motto for the Vedanta, he said, Atmana Mokshartha Jagat Hita. But the Jagat doesn't exist. So why Jagat? Why did he get
Jagat doesn't exist for the Brahma Jnani, but for Kaustubh it is existing. No.
Yeah.
So to help Kaustubh also to come to this position, that, actually, what do you mean by Jagat Hit? Now we have, Jagat Hit can be understood in so many ways. You give food, you give clothing. That is also Hit only. The real Hit is to help others to attain Brahma Jnana. This is the real Hit. The real Hit. This is what actually Swamiji means by Jagat Hit. Of course, essentially he means this, but now when Swamiji's time there was so much poverty in India. So yes, we have to bring everybody out of this poverty. That was his one passion. So ultimately the real Hit of a human being, it is not, see, you can provide food to a hungry man, and that food can solve the problem of hunger of that person for one time, maybe 2 times, maybe 1 day or 2 days, but still it is not going to solve his problem permanently. You can give clothing to that so-called needy person, and the problem may appear to be solved for the time being, but it is not going to solve the essential problems of that person. But if you give a person this Brahma Vidya, you are putting an end to all of his problems in one stroke. This is the real hit which anyone can do to the other person. Is it not? So when Swamiji is saying, Atmana Mokshartham, you lead your life in such a way that you yourself become enlightened and you help others also to become enlightened. Because that is, his problem is over. Now, see, these, otherwise, Sri Ramakrishna says beautifully, Sri Ramakrishna gives a very beautiful, funny example. There are 2 types of people, he says. 2 types of children. One child, the child gets wonderful, let's say, Alfonso mango. Immediately the child runs into the room, shuts the door, and nicely eats the mango and wipes the mouth. He says, the language is like that. That person has eaten the Alfonso mango in a very selfish manner, and the person has wiped the mouth and then comes out. Apna kaam ho gaya. Other person is, he has got this Alfonso mango, he thinks, let me go share it with somebody else. And he shares it with somebody else. This is the nature of Brahma Jnani. He himself has crossed the ocean of the samsara. He wants to share this experience with others. He is not a selfish person that he has become free, baki sab rehne do. No. He will work day and night passionately to see that others also get the same thing what he has got. This is the very description of all the Mahapurushas. Shankaracharya himself defines this. So beautiful. If you all remember, what is that? Bhagavad Gita. Amazing. I will first touch Vivekananda. What is the characteristic of this Mahatma? Shankaracharya says there, Shanta Mahanto Nivasanti Santo Vasantavat Loka Hitam Charanta Tirna Swayam Bhima Bhavarnavam Janan Ahetunan Anyanapi Dharayanta. This is the presentation of a Mahapurusha. What does it mean? Shankaracharya says, it is a description of his own self. He is describing his own self. He is describing all these Mahapurushas. How are they? Shanta Mahanto Nivasanti Santo. There are some magnanimous souls. And how are these magnanimous souls? They are like Vasantavat loka hitam charanta. They keep moving around. For what? Loka hitam. Swamiji would say, Jagat hitam. Loka hitam, Jagat hitam. They exist for the good of others. But what do you mean by good of others? The real good that you can do to others is what you know. The third line says, Tirna swayam bhima bhavarnavam janan. This person himself, he has crossed the ocean of samsara. He has gone beyond the so-called the three quarters and realized the Atman. Samsara is what? This three quarter is samsara. This is the ocean. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti is the ocean. He has gone beyond it. Tirna swayam bhima bhavarnavam janan. He has gone beyond this imaginary ocean and realized his Atman nature, and then ahetuna anyana pitarayanta. Without any reason, he continuously keeps on helping others also to realize this great Atman. This is the real meaning of Jagat. Even if one person gets enlightened, that is the greatest thing to happen. And if when you get enlightened, all your problems come to an end. For that person, there is no problem then. All problems exist only in ignorance. Once this avidya is gone, what is the problem? So this is the meaning of Atmana Moksha. So the second line is so beautiful, that it says, Vasantavat loka hitam charanta. These Mahapurushas are just like Vasanta. Vasanta means the spring season. What happens when the spring season comes? Just now autumn will come, and then following the autumn, in the autumn, all the entire nature becomes dry. The leaves, the trees, they shed leaves. There are no flowers. We in the Mayavati, we experience it. Now when autumn comes, there will be no flowers here. Everything will be dry. Then again, when in February, March, when spring comes, slowly you will begin to see new leaves and flowers are blooming. So beautiful. See, the term is so beautiful, so poetic. So these Mahapurushas are just like spring season. When the spring season comes, everything begins to bloom. So these Mahapurushas, when these Mahapurushas, they come into our life, their entry actually marks the blooming of our spiritual consciousness. The entry of a Mahapurusha into our life, it marks the beginning of the blooming of one's spiritual consciousness. This is the greatest good that you can do to somebody else. This is the meaning of Atmana Mokshartham Jagatatacha. Now, Bhagavad Gita also speaks the same thing. One verse I can tell, which was Ranganathanji Maharaj used to say this. How will this Mahapurusha live? Once I asked Ranganathanji Maharaj, you all know, the 13th president of our order. He was Pakka staunch Advaita, a great Mahatma. Really a great stalwart Mahatma. Staunch Advaita. Vedanta. So somebody asked him, Swamiji, which is the most important shloka of the Bhagavad Gita? So Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. Second chapter, all description of the Atman. Majestic description of Atman. It's all Atman, 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 nothing else. Everything else is an imagination. Please note it down. This is the plain truth. It's all Atman and Atman alone. All other ideas of reality is pure imagination. So, somebody went and asked Ranganathanji Maharaj, Maharaj, Bhagavad Gita, please tell us what do you think is the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita? So naturally, that person who was asking this question, he was expecting that Maharaj will quote some verses describing the Atman like the seventh mantra here. Atman, Atman, Atman. No. He was telling something amazing. According to him, which is the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita, he quoted the verse from the 3rd chapter. He said, this is the most important verse of Bhagavad Gita. What is that verse? That verse says, Sakta karmanya vidvanso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvans tatha saktaha chikir shur roka sangraham. He was shocked. See, we all have been studying Bhagavad Gita for how many decades? But never did it occur to us that this verse is so important. But now it's revealing that This is really the greatest verse in Bhagavad Gita. What is the meaning of this verse? There Krishna is saying, there it is a description of a Atma Jnani. Okay. It is a description of an Atma Jnani and how should a Atma Jnani live in the world. That is the topic of discussion. How will a knower of Brahman live in the world? That is the topic. So Krishna is saying, see Krishna, these are all absolutely incomparable. There is no book which can be compared to the Bhagavad Gita. That's why go back to Upanishad, go back to Gita. Always I tell this. If you want to really understand the teachings. So there Krishna is saying, how will this knower of Brahman live? Krishna is saying that Sakta Karmani Avidvan. Avidvan Karmani Sakta. Yatha Kurvanti. Just like an ignorant man or an ignorant woman. Ignorant man or an ignorant woman means a man or a woman of this world who is totally ignorant, who is fully immersed in the world with the sense of reality about the world, fully attached to the world, and that person is madly working. Is it not? Every man, woman is madly working. Working for what? To satisfy all selfish desires. Is it not? This ignorant man or woman is deeply attached to the things of the world, and to fulfill one's desire, this ignorant man or a woman is continuously working, intensely working. Is it not? This is one picture of ignorant man and woman who are madly attached to this world and working for their selfish interest. Opposite to this, the man of Atmagyan. How will this man of Atmagyan live? Will he be just sitting quiet meditating? No. This man, this Atmajnani, Shankaracharya says there, what will he do? In his commentary is so beautiful. Kuryat Vidwan Tatha Asaktah. This Vidwan, this Atmavedta, Shankaracharya says, he also should be equally intensely active. Just as a worldly person is intensely active to satisfy his selfish interest, this Atmajnani also will be day in and day out working hard. But working hard for what? Chikirshu Loka Sangraham. An amazing word there. Working for Loka Sangraham, for everybody's welfare. It is not that his job is over and he is sitting in meditation. No. He will come down to the field and he will work hard to help others. Now, Loka Sangraham. It's a beautiful term. Shankaracharya's brilliant masterpiece explanation of this term. Loka Sangram, this term comes several times in Gita. Shankara says, what is the meaning of Loka Sangram? In Sanskrit it says, Loka Sangram means what? He says, Unmarga Pravritti Nivaranam. Unmarga Pravritti Nivaranam. Unmarga Pravritti Nivarana means what? Unmarga and Sanmarga. Two terms are there. Sanmarga means what? People who are walking on the right path. Opposite of that is Unmarga. Unmarga means people who have strayed away from the true path. Now, this Atmaveta works for what? To bring all those people who have strayed into the wrong path, to bring them to the right path of self-realization. Shankaracharya says. Lokasya unmarga pravritti nivaranam lokasangraha, he says. So this Atmajnani's only one concern is to help everyone to come back on this path of self-realization, because this is the only thing which is going to bring about well-being of that person. Nothing else can do it. The true well-being of the so-called the living being is in this venture alone. Everything else is just a waste of time. So this is the picture of the so-called Atmajnana, Atmano Moksha. Is Swami Vivekananda telling something new? Everything is from the scriptures. Every single word, every single utterance of Vivekananda and Ramakrishna, it is all from Upanishads, Gita and Shankaracharya. Every single utterance. Anyway, that's different. So you have anything to ask? Yes, Ishwaran. Let me talk to Ishwaran.
Maharaj, this is a bit of a scary question. Please correct my reasoning.
Pardon?
Please correct my reasoning.
Yes.
So, from the highest standpoint, there is Brahman and Brahman alone.
Hmm.
There is no Srishti. And we talked yesterday as well that there is no real bondage as well.
Yeah.
So, on realization, I'm actually going from my true nature to my true nature. Doesn't that mean moksha is unreal?
Moksha is unreal when you realize it. When you have realized your true nature, now that is, Gaudapatacharya is going to tell that. Wait, the same language. Are you Gaudapatacharya? You're speaking his language. Yes, exactly, this is the language. Just wait. This is what Gaudapatacharya is going to say. Where is Mukti? What Shankaracharya every day, Nirvana Shalkam, what we are? Mukti Naiva. I am not even Mukti. What Mukti? Even Mukti, all these talks are in what? What is that last line of Nirvana Shalkam? Every day what we are chanting? Nachartona moksha. Last line is that, no? Yes, I'm not even mukti. The idea of mukti is only in ignorance. But when knowledge comes, if you take the stand of Atman, who is bound here? No one is bound. That's what I'm saying. That is what Shankaracharya extracted, the extract of that one verse, that avasthatraya vyatiriktatvam, shuddhatvam, and asangatvam. It means you're already free. Even to talk that you are free is wrong actually. You're talking about your freedom only in a certain context. For a Brahmagyani, the idea of bandhan and mukti both become meaningless. You will laugh at it. Who was bound? No one was bound. We are just dreaming something. We are just in a so-called a nightmare here, owing to, now again, there, you can't avoid this inscrutable power called Maya, Shakti. It is she who is making this strange thing happen. That's why the only thing that we can talk about Maya is Mahadbhutam, where you are not bound, someone is making you feel as if you are bound. This is what Maya makes the impossible possible. Aghatita patiyasi Maya, Shankaracharya says. Maya is that which makes the impossible possible. You are all free actually, but Maya is making you feel as if you are bound. And again, then she releases you. That is her play. She makes you feel that you are bound, and then she lets you go free. There is no rhyme and reason to it. She is crazy. But when the truth is realized, it's gone. Is the point.
Maharaj,
Yeah? What is that?
this is slightly earlier around the concept of
Ah.
home. In the waking and the dream world, because there are objects, we can say that they have name and therefore they are just words.
Yeah.
What about the sleep state? Because there is no object there, how can that be reduced to words and then eventually home?
Yeah, it's a good question, you see. See, in deep sleep state, do you think the world is not existing? It is all very much existing. But it is in its seed state. That's why the sleep state is described as what? Avyakritam. Avyakritam means undifferentiated. Tell me, from a seed, a plant sprouts. The seed germinates and becomes a sprout. And the sprout grows into becoming a plant. Is it not? But that means before germination, this whole tree was involved inside that seed. Is it not? Can you say that the tree didn't exist? The tree is existing inside the seed, but it is not visible. Seed is that in which the whole banyan tree, can you imagine a huge, massive banyan tree, which is today manifested? It was once upon a time completely involved in that seed, which was invisible. But just because it was invisible, can you say that the tree is not there? Tree is very much there, invisible, inside the seed. Is it not the point? Tell me. Pure science. Similarly, the so-called sleep state. It is not that the world is not there. The world is completely in its seed state. From the seed state, it germinates, it sprouts, and it becomes the so-called waking and the tree. So it is not that world is not there in the so-called sleep state. It is the seed state. It is the avyakrita, that the world is there in its undifferentiated form. It becomes manifested. Again, it becomes unmanifested. This is going on. Manifestation, unmanifestation. This is continuously going.
You mentioned that this understanding needs to come experientially, like in meditation,
Yeah.
and not by
Intellectual.
reading.
Yeah.
from a Upanishad perspective also, in here we can say that when it says Om and things like that, that's the experiential part that he is referring to. Or in general, we can say Upanishad is basically trying to do this is you understand this and you get it like that. Is that not that perspective also there? That simply think over that, do
Yes.
over that, and somehow you should.
Yes, Vivek, we have to grow in stages. So what you are saying is very true. Initially, it will be conceptual. Now, see, we are all actually forming of the right concept is the prelude to experience. Forming of the right concept is a very important thing. It is a prelude to experience. If you are living with totally wrong concepts, how can you realize the truth? Presently, that is fine. That is what Mananam. Mananam is what? Removing all the wrong concepts from our mind and forming the right concept. That is the work of this Mananam. But how do you do that? For that you need Shravanam. You listen to the words of the scriptures, Shastrasya, Guru Vakyasya, you listen from the Guru and the Shastras and let your reasoning now follow the trail of the words of the Guru and the Shastra. Not your independent, random, haywire thinking. That won't take you anywhere. You have to follow the words of those who have realized it. And when you begin to follow the words of the rishis, those who have realized it, what is happening in the process is that you are now revising your mental world and all your wrong conceptions based upon the words of the Upanishad is being set aside and you are first forming the right concept of the truth. But the concept of the truth is yet not the truth. It is still a concept. But it is an important stage in the evolution towards the experience of the truth. So it has got an important place. But one should not be just thinking, just because I have formed the right concept, I am happy with it. No, that is not going to solve your problem. You may form the right concept of the reality, but that is not going to solve your problem. Problem will be solved only when this concept turns into experience. So see, Shravanam, Mananam, and this Mananam, this what right concept you have formed, that you should further meditate on it and turn this concept into experience. You should not stop only at the emergence of right conception. Right conception is a prelude to the development of right experience. So it's a stage. It has got its place.
Does it mean when we say jnana, so jnana comes only in meditation, or jnana is more the concept, or it is sort of both combined, or what do you
See, jnana, for most of us, 99% of the people, they have meditation. You can't escape meditation. In meditation, what are we doing? We are dissolving this world. In meditation, we are dissolving this world and going back to the source. It is needed. Some very few chosen, highly competent people in whose minds all the defects are already removed because of their wonderful samskaras. Some very, very rare soul. These people, just by one utterance of the Guru, they can become elevated. Like people like Shankaracharya and all these people. It is that Shankaracharya, just by listening to the words from Govinda Padacharya, he is placing illumination. They don't have to sit and meditate after that. But they do meditation. Sri Ramakrishna. It's like that. But for majority of the others, they have to go through the process of meditation. Very rare illuminate, very extremely pure souls, in which all the desires are not there, full of Viveka and Vairagya. Such extremely rare souls, for them just one statement, Sarvam Khaluvidam Brahma, or Tattvamasi, one Upadesha Vakya can implement them. But that is a rarity actually. Yes, Manju?
Say that during meditation, all the defects of mind gets removed slowly, and then only we can go on to the.
Exactly. This is what is happening in Nididhyasana. There are two things, exactly what Manju you have said. There are two defects. We are all suffering from two defects. One is the defect of asambhavana, and the other is the defect of viparita bhavana. What does it mean? Asambhavana means this is not possible. Asambhavana means this is not possible. What is not possible? Upanishad is telling, Manju, you are the Atma. Is it not? And immediately, kaise ho sakta hai? मैं तो ये हूँ, मैं तो महिला हूं, मैं तो पुरुष हूं, हमको यह असंभव लगता है. This is a defect. This is a buddhi dosha actually. This asambhavana is a defect of our antakaranam where we think that what the Upanishad is saying is impossible. It cannot be. This world alone is real. This is the position of most of the people. Now this defect of asambhavana is removed by Shravanam and Mananam. Mananam is the medicine for asambhavana. When you do proper Shravanam and Mananam, you begin to understand that no, this is not impossible. This is very much possible. This defect of asambhavana is treated by the medicine of Shravana and Manana. See, we begin to feel, no, what the Guru is saying, yes, it is very much possible. Acha, even after this defect of asambhavana is removed, there is second defect, Viparita Bhavana. Viparita Bhavana is what? Acha, for the time being you have formed the right concept and you have come to a conclusion. Yes, what the Guru and Shastra is telling is very much true. You have come to this conclusion. But your past samskaras are there, which are viparita, to our Atma tendency. It is a viparita tendency. Now, how do you counter this viparita samskara? That is done by nididhyasana. When you practice meditation, you overcome this defect of viparita bhavana. This is how, through Shravanam, Maranam, Nididhyasanam, you overcome these two defects of asambhavana and viparita bhavana, and then only we land up in experience. So this is a very time-tested methodology, and actually speaking, the most straight and most powerful methodology. Swami Vivekananda wanted Advaita Ashrama here people to follow only this. No rituals, no temples, no waving of light and nothing of those business. Straight away, Shravanam, Maranam, and go to the Atman. See the beauty. See where we are discussing this. I feel so thrilled. Swamiji started the center for this, nothing else. Every man and every woman should come. He or she should listen to Vedanta, should practice it, and should realize it. Straight away. No dependence on any form, no dependence on temples, no rituals, nothing. Straight away, by inquiring into one's own true nature, one should get this experience. That is the very foundation of this ashram. See what we are doing. So the tea bell is gone. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.